The next thing in the toolbar is Color Sampler Tool. Color Sampler Tool is basically a place for you to remember the particular colors of those pixels that you choose. So you click on it, then you would come here and you click, and as I click, it starts to make these little points in the print, and it starts to remember them. And they're up here in the top right, and they give you an RGB value, so a red, green, and a blue value for that pixel that you clicked on. This is very useful, and I will explain in the future why this is useful. I find this more useful to do in Photoshop than in Adobe Camera Raw. Maybe one day, maybe I should suggest it, but I haven't. They will allow you, if you click on points here, that when you open the image in Photoshop, those points will be saved and open naturally in Photoshop. Right now, if you click on points here and you open it into Photoshop, those points don't go with you. You can only see them in Adobe Camera Raw. Since we're usually printing through Photoshop, we can't print through Adobe Camera Raw. I don't find this that useful in here, but they are here, and with time you hopefully will start to understand a little bit about what those numbers mean just by looking at them. I'm going to clear that out.
How did you clear that out?
There's a little button up at the top, like it says Clear Samplers.
Oh, got it. Okay, thanks.
Sure. Targeted Adjustment Tool. I don't normally use this, but it's kind of a thing where you click on part of an image and you drag up or down, and it's going to increase the brightness or decrease the brightness or exposure of the image. So if supposedly in a smart way. So if I click like on the grass here, I can increase or decrease the image. Now, so it either works on a parametric curve, or you can specifically change different things by using this targeted adjustment tool, like just work with saturation. So perhaps if I go back to reset here, so this is what I started with, and now I come here and do saturation. If I click on something, it's going to increase or decrease the saturation. But notice it's trying to work smartly here, like it's really just working on the greens in the background. It's not working on my image. I don't necessarily think this is the best way to create a mask, but this is that could end up being the result. So this has some particular features that may be useful, but I've never really kind of spent too much time with it. The next tool is a crop tool, and I think that's quite useful. The crop tool has subsets, so if you want a particular aspect ratio of height to width, you can do that here. Remember, always width is first and height is second. Well, I guess it's a bit interchangeable depending if it's a vertical image or a horizontal layout. You can make a custom one, or you can just do normal, which means that you can change this in any way you want. But if you know you wanted to make a 5:7 crop, or you're going to make an 8:10, then this is useful to use one of these. Now sometimes like 8:10 is not up here, but 4 to 5 is the same thing as 8 to 10. It's just the numbers have been divided into the lowest
Common
denominator. I was going to say that, but I thought it might be wrong or confusing. But see, so now that aspect ratio is locked, so you can either make it bigger or smaller, but you can't go independently height and width. So you can also move this around. The other nice thing about this crop feature, unlike the crop feature in Photoshop, is it's not permanent. So if I double click here and I just kind of crop in, if I decided that I don't like that crop, I can come back and change that at any point by just clicking on the crop tool. It zooms back out and that allows me to make that reselection again. There's the straighten tool, which helps if you're like me and a lot of times you somehow didn't quite photograph something perfectly horizontal, like something that has a grid in it, something that has a horizon line. This is just a really quick tool. I should have shown in the crop, if you go in the crop tool, if you go to the corner, you can actually change the angle of the crop. You get this kind of bent arrow, two-way arrow if you see around the corner. So instead of clicking on this, you move a little outside of it. Then you can do this kind of thing. But the straighten tool, actually you just basically, I should find maybe a different image, but for brevity I'm not. So you just, it's perfect, like if you have a horizon line or you have a straight line and you want to crop to that line so it's perfectly horizontal, you just click and drag across that a line that's in the image or what you want to straighten the crop to be, and you do it. So if I wanted it to like be straight across from here to here, I just click on that. Or if I wanted it to be from here to here, I'll click on it. And you can see how it changes the crop to it. So this is a...
I didn't see the points. You said where you click on it, and I'm not...
Well, you don't click on a point. You just find... So, let's see. This one, let me open up a different image that has more of some type of line that we can crop to. So,
on the left bottom.
so this one, we'll just open this one up again just to illustrate this. This wouldn't really make sense necessarily, but there's this straight edge of the roof. If I wanted that to be perfectly horizontal, then I would click on one side and the other and align this kind of marching ant line with whatever I want it to crop to, and we'll crop to that. And then if I double click on that and activate it, everything else looks wonky, but this line, by gosh, is horizontal. Okay, so if you had a horizon line, this works really, it's just a nice simple tool. It's a bit connected to the crop tool. Let's see. And by the way, if you make a crop and you just don't like it at all and you want to start all the way over, when it's active like this, you just hit the escape tool and it just cuts away or throws away the crop and you start over.